August, a month of new beginnings. August has always reminded me of new beginnings. Sometimes a new beginning doesn't feel exciting at all. Sometimes it feels like the end of everything you've ever known. It can feel like your whole world is falling apart, when in reality, God is making room for something new. There may be seasons where He leads you into places you never imagined you would have to walk through. Places of uncertainty, places of waiting, places where it seems like everything familiar is being stripped away. But often, that's where God does His greatest work. When I think about Scripture, I notice that God has always been a God of new beginnings. In Genesis, He brought creation out of emptiness. In Noah's day, the flood looked like complete destruction, but it was also the beginning of a new world. When Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, God was preserving His greater purpose through Lot's family. Then, in the New Testament, Jesus arrived, and everything changed. The people knew the Messiah was coming because the prophets had spoken about Him. But He didn't come the way they expected. They expected a king dressed in royalty, someone who looked powerful in the eyes of the world. Instead, He came as a humble carpenter. And with Him came a revolution. When Jesus called His disciples, it was a new beginning for them too. They left behind familiar lives to follow a future they couldn't yet see. I've noticed a pattern throughout Scripture. Whenever God steps onto the scene, He interrupts what is in order to introduce what could be. Think about the children of Israel. For generations, they cried out for deliverance from slavery. Then God raised up Moses from among them to lead them to freedom. But even after praying for deliverance, many were afraid when it finally arrived. Why? Because it didn't happen the way they imagined it would. And I wonder, could that be true in our lives today? What if the thing you've been calling failure is actually the doorway to your next beginning? What if what feels like loss is really God making room for something greater? What if the enemy has convinced you that God is punishing you, when in reality, He is redeeming you? Sometimes freedom feels uncomfortable before it feels liberating. Sometimes God has to dismantle what has become familiar before He can establish something better. So don't judge this season too quickly. God may be doing a new thing right in front of your eyes. As Jesus said, "Therefore, if the Son sets you free, you shall be free indeed." John 8 verse 36. Maybe this isn't the end. Maybe this is your new beginning.